The business of business is not always about business, but it's about how you relate with your clients, how you relate with your employees. This is the startup where we inspire businesses. Do you know the negative side of the internet can be a business opportunity? Tonight, in the startup, we're joined by Evelyn Kasina of Eveminet Communications Limited. Karibu sana. How did you start the business?
I started the business locally from my house. I incorporated it in the year 2009. Then I was still employed in the Ministry of Health.
Ministry of Health.
And I decided to do this full-time, obviously because I was not getting a lot of challenges from my background. Though I was doing what I needed to do, I didn't find a lot of pushing challenges. So I decided to start my small office from my house, which was, of course, a very simple and cheap.
A typical startup.
I only needed my computer and my internet, and to just go through what I need to make the world a better place. So I sat with my husband, who is my co-director, and I told him about my dreams and my ventures. So him being also an entrepreneur and being a bit older than me, he definitely sat me down, told me what I need to do with the resources that are available to me. And we started the business from the house.
From the house? With how much capital?
Fortunately, being I was a civil servant, so I was fortunate enough to enroll to a SACCO where I used to contribute towards shares. So I just went to my SACCO and got a loan for 250,000, and that's how I started my business, 250,000. And I decided I'm going to just build up on services as opposed to supplies.
Now, Eveminet Communications Limited, what do you do?
I am a network security consultant. So what basically that means is I will help people understand what they need in terms of securing their networks from a home setup and a commercial setup. We sit down with especially clients who are parents and people who own businesses to understand where the vulnerabilities of their businesses come from. More or less, hackers do things online. So
from the bad side of the internet, that is now where you got your inspiration.
That is where I got my inspiration from. Because, I mean, if I can just sit from a Java hotspot somewhere and get into someone's network and do bad things, are people aware that they're losing so much money with people who are hacking into their businesses, or because they do not understand what ICT policies say to secure their businesses? So I thought to myself that I need to help business people secure their data, secure their networks. And obviously, being a mother, I wanted it to start from the family setup. Because
so one of your services is for the family setup,
yes.
Then the other service is for the corporate setup.
Yes.
Tell me about now the family setup.
The family setup, I got inspired by starting my security company from the family setup because I believe that our children are the future of tomorrow. And what we are seeing, the trends happening with the technology today, our children are not going out there to play with their bicycles and everything. They're seated in front of the computers, they're seated in front of the TVs.
Even the phone.
And it's really, really dangerous when we are not monitoring what they're doing, because people are being radicalized over the internet. So if I can afford to give my child my phone or my iPad or the computer, and I've paid for internet and I'm not monitoring what they're doing, they get to bad things because we are not telling them what to access. And when they're accessing bad things, how are we having these conversations with them? So I wanted to start from a place where a mother is monitoring what their children are doing, and to try and use the internet now to boost their kids' talents. Because if you can realize that your child is interested in cookery, you can subscribe to cookery YouTube channels, as opposed to them just going to see naked people on the internet because they're watching a lot of pornography, because those things are easily accessible. So I wanted to build up from the family setup so that we as parents get to know what our children are doing, then they don't get lost.
How do you do that, Evelyn?
So I offer a firewall security where we sit down with a client and build up policies according to different ages. From the family setup, obviously, We will try and block all unhealthy sites like pornography. We will block radicalization sites, hate speech. Then we subscribe the children to limited access to, say, social media. I'm a parent who doesn't want my child to be on social media the whole day. Can I limit that access? Yes.
Wow. Any other services that you have?
I love branding. So I like positioning people to be known, like give you a website, give you a brand, help you market. In terms of, from the commercial side of it, I like to understand someone's business and how they are marketing. So if you're not using social media to market your brand, I come in and help you how to market your brand, and I give you where the loopholes are. I come in, I position myself in your company and tell you this is how I'm going to expose your company to get you feeds. Yes. Wow. My business, I market my business through an organization called BNI. BNI is a Business Networking International. It's a global concept. In Nairobi, we have almost 16 chapters.
Since you started, have you learned any lessons in the business?
Several lessons, good and bad. Fortunately, being in a technology kind of setup, I use a lot of emails to communicate. So the plus for me would be I don't suffer the ripple effect of miscommunication, because if I communicated with someone officially or non-officially through email, I can always go back, retrace my steps, and get to know where our conversation started and where we are having miscommunication. So I have backup for more or less my communication with other people. And obviously, a downside is people think they know what they want, and they would not consult, they will not go and get professional consultancy from the people who understand the business. So you find we are being shortchanged by very many people who think they understand the industry, but they don't. So someone will get to spend more money with I will, out of lack of a better term, use a quack. And now when they realize that they've spent so much of their money, now they need professional services. They don't want to pay professional fees. So that really hurts a lot of we who are giving professional services, especially myself. The other challenge I would say I've gotten so far is, I would say, human resource. Because what we young people suffer from is, you have an idea, you have a concept, you know how to actualize your concept, but when you don't have the right people in your team, that concept is just an idea. No. You want to hire people who are vibrant, people who understand the technology, people who can actually manipulate technology. But when they don't understand your goals, they don't understand your vision, they're just there sitting to be paid at the end of the month. That becomes a real challenge. So for me, just getting the right people. So far, I have 2 right people in my company, but over the time, I have obviously fallen short in getting the right people. So I'm concentrating to get the right people in my team to help me actualize my vision and my goals.
Now, back to the services in. As a customer, what are some of the investments that are needed for you to give me that particular service?
It will depend, because the products we have vary. Because I have the home setup that basically will take up to 10 users. But the commercial will vary according to the number of people who are in your network. We have from 10 to 2,500. So if I'm setting up my firewall in a school setup, they will obviously go for the higher firewall, as opposed to someone who has maybe 20 people in their network. So I would just need internet.
And for the corporate services?
The corporate services that I offer, like branding, I would just need someone who needs to get their brand out there to target the right people. Because that is a difference. People want Facebook feeds, or they want to just get 1,000 likes on Instagram. But are you targeting the people who will actually give you business? Are you targeting the right people? Are you positioning your company in such a way that if a corporate like Samsung or Safaricom would go out there and see your brand, they would think that this is a serious person, I can invest in this person? Or people who are investors looking at you, how do they perceive your company? Just positioning your company in such a way that your audience understands what you are and what you're selling. So we help businesses understand their products and break it down to little chunks of details, so that if you're targeting a certain age group, they understand what you're selling, as opposed to the youth or corporates, because you have to understand the dynamics of the market. How are you selling to a corporate as opposed to an SME? Yes.
You're young.
I am.
Energetic. What advice can you give other youths?
I would actually start by saying, if you have an idea,
Yes.
don't sit on it. Don't sit on any idea that you have. Actualize it by using the resources that you have. Even though it's just the internet that you're paying, what, 4,000 or 5,000, use the resources that you have. Then associate yourself with people who give you positive criticism, even negative, and learn how to take criticism positively. Because the people you associate yourself with build who you are. So if you're associating yourself with people who are always complaining, you'll be the fifth person who's complaining, and you're not helping yourself. And I would tell young people actually who are starting businesses to research a lot on what they want, because people have good ideas, but if you've not researched on how your business is going to look like in 5 or 10 years to come, you need to sit back, take a moment and think about your business, not now, but for the future. Because you need to project. You need the investment that you're putting up now needs to project to 10 years, and how you're planning to grow after 10 years. I see myself changing this country in a positive way. Obviously, making sure that the young generation of now understand that there's value in what they have. I want to talk to the youth who have given up, because every life has a purpose. And the people who have given up don't have vision for themselves. They're being used by people who are radicalizing people. And I'll say that because the most recent attack in Paris, the people who were suicide bombers were my age mates. That is someone who didn't see their life in 2-3 days ahead. So people who have given up, I want to talk to the people who are seeing there's no future. I want to talk to the politicians who keep giving us hopes that there is youth, that there's an opportunity for the youth. Because the people who have bad intentions on earth, they work with the youth. And they work with the youth who are vulnerable. So I want to talk to the politicians, I want to talk to policy makers, and I want to talk to the youth themselves to tell them that there is hope, and it all starts with you. It all starts with you to think about what you want for yourself. Yes. So in 5 years to come, I want to be that person who's changing this country to a better place through the knowledge I have in IT.
Definitely.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
That is
Thank you so much. For you to actualize your future, you need to research a lot so that you make your future bright. That is the key take that we take from the story of Eveminet Kasina of Eveminet Communications Limited. After the break, how they were started. Then later on, we'll be joined by startups experts.